Alright, so in this episode of The Liberal Black, we're going to be looking at some shows that I was recently watching on the television. We're going to look at RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars, which plays on VH1. We're going to talk about The Pale Horse, which plays on Amazon Prime. And we're going to talk about the Indian matchmaking show on Netflix. And finally, from Fat to Lolly, a six-pack, from Fat Lolly to Six-Pack Lolly, the ultimate transformation story, which is a documentary also on Amazon Prime. Okay, so let's hop right into it. So let me start by saying, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, for Drag Race All-Stars Season 5. And we're just going to start off with the answer that we all want to know if you haven't seen it, which is who won. And the person, the queen, she who won was Shea Coulee. Shea Coulee. Bravo, Shea Coulee. Ha, yay. Clap it up for Shea Coulee. Call me Shea. So Shea has been crowned the champ. During this season, Shea talked a lot about how during her previous season of season 9, I believe it was, that she got put out of the competition during an epic lip sync against Sasha Velour, in which Sasha Velour pulled all these rose petals out from underneath her wig. And Shea was telling different stories during the season about this. And one of the stories was how people during meet and greets would come and take their hats off and rose petals would fall out from underneath their hats. People, don't be jerks. It sounds like, I'm a huge RuPaul Drag Race fan. Watch all the seasons, the Untucked and everything. I even watch sometimes online the different, drag cons. I watch the RuPaul Drag Race photo review. I watched the pit stop. I mean, the RuPaul empire, it is vast. It is vast. And if I could digress for another moment, RuPaul has another show getting ready to come out on VH1 August 21st. That's a documentary or a reality show following the girls who are in the RuPaul Vegas show. That looks really fun. I am not tired of RuPaul. Get your coins, RuPaul, while you can. And he is doing that. So congratulations to him on that. But getting back to what I was about to say, there's a lot of racism sometimes in the drag race community. And I know sometimes people may feel like, oh my gosh, is it always about race? Well, why is there racism everywhere? That's a great question. We didn't put it there, but it's there. So we're just responding to it, okay? So I think that part of it was some of that why she was experiencing some of that Shea Coulee I'm talking about, some of that horrible stuff she was experiencing on the road after she lost. It's just all connected. It's people being insensitive, but it's also an undercurrent of that racism that's there, if you're following me. So we come into the season finale, the last episode, with the following wins, or the report cards, as the girls like to say. So we have Miss Cracker with 3 wins, Shea with 2 wins, and Jujubee with 1 win. So of course, at this point, there was a time in Drag Race history where you could kind of tell who was going to win based on the report cards. But it's not really like that now. It's very much taking all the history into account, but actually how you, in the end, because all the girls usually are going to do really well on the final group number. If there's a group number, they're going to all probably do well when it comes to their runways, because they've had time, right, to get this stuff together. Where it always separates the girls from the women, the men from the boys, the wheat from the chaff, is the lip sync. It just always does. And that's what happened. That's what happened tonight on the Drag Race finale. The number was the Janelle Monáe number, The Way You Make Me Feel. I think that's the name of the song. Shea Coulee out the box was doing this robotic thing that totally matched with the song. That's always a big thing to me. You know, there was a time in my life where I thought I might want to start a drag race grooming school. But that was before drag race got so big. And I don't mean drag race, I mean drag queen grooming school. This was probably, you know, I don't know, over 20 years ago. Because, you know, as someone who is a performer who studied theater, I used to think about some of the drag shows I would go to and think how poorly produced they were, and maybe how a lot of the queens weren't connecting to the music that they were singing or lip syncing to. And I used to think, man, they need a coach. They need someone to coach them on their music. And so that was kind of something I thought I might want to do someday. But of course that ship has sailed. Drag is very huge now, although there might be room for someone to coach a budding young queen, but then again, that's why they have their houses and sisters and all that stuff for. They don't need that, I guess. But if they do, call me. Give me a call. So anyway, clearly out the bat, Shea caught my attention. Miss Cracker, God bless her, very enthusiastic lip syncing, but it did not really match the song. It was kind of one of those lip syncs, very much similar to Vanessa Vanjie Mateo's lip sync on a previous episode that she did, where she came in as a lip sync assassin, and she was basically doing all her same basic moves that were not tailor-made for the song that they were doing in the moment. I think that's we're getting a lot of that. And then you had Jujubee, who was doing a very earnest lip sync. You know, she was on the floor. You know, she had a very cute kind of majorette outfit on. But once again, you could probably take that, whatever she was doing, and sit it into almost any song. Whereas what Shea was doing was very specific and tailor-made to the song. But if we're going to go back to kind of like scoreboarding the episode, I would say the final runway, Jujubee won. She had a very beautiful outfit that was an honor of her culture. I think she said something about Hindu, Buddha. Forgive me for not remembering exactly what it was. But it was a beautiful outfit, these long fingernails and a beautiful headpiece and a tight glittery bodysuit with this long sash that draped across the floor. It was awesome. And then Cracker came out in her outfit, which was an ode to her Russian Jewish heritage. You know, that always goes across the board goes over well when the girls kind of channel something that's personal to them like that. She looked wonderful in her outfit. Although she looked great, she didn't look comfortable. Like, I felt like she was worried that her headpiece was going to fall off, so she was very rigid in her neck movements. So I didn't feel relaxed watching her. And then Shea Coulee came out in her outfit, and I must say, I was like, oh crap, Shea, what is this? It was this really big, full, pretty dress, but I thought it was too basic and didn't have any rhinestones and glitter on it and stuff. But this is where I'm showing my limitations, because when the judges were responding to it, it was clearly a reference to some other kind of major designer, a classic designer from back in the day. It went over my head. I didn't know. So, but she looked wonderful, and I was just happy that the judges loved it. That's why, because it didn't matter if I was like, yeah, I was just glad the judges loved it, because, you know, I am Team Shea since the first episode. You know, because I was looking for her to get her redemption. And so I would say the final group number that they did to RuPaul's Clapback, still the ladies from the All-Star season that did Read You, Wrote You. You girls are safe. You are the winner, baby. Y'all still have the crown because this song was not better than this collaboration was not better than Read You Wrote You. And I'm starting to wonder, is it that Read You Wrote You was the best Rue song that they've done, had to work with? Or was those girls just the best girls? We're talking about Alaska, Detox, Roxy, and who am I missing? Katya, from that group. And so, I don't know. Y'all tell me. So final runway, Juju won. Final group number. The group number, Shay killed it. She's slated. She had the most difficult choreography of all the ladies, and she did it effortlessly. But once again, the song itself, the lyrics for all the girls was fine. No one was bad as far as the content of the song went. The song just didn't move me, but the performances were really good, and Shay clearly won it. So out of all the challenges for the episode, considering we're talking about runway, group number, lip sync, Shay got 2 out of 3. Juju took the other one. And Cracker did a good job. It's just that she just didn't win any other categories, in my opinion. Overall, this season, for the most part, was, even though it was frustrating at times, just in terms of maybe some of the activities that they had them doing. Like, I thought that TMZ moment kind of went a little flat, that they did, or the SheMZ, I should say. But overall, it was a really good episode. I really liked the new format with the Lip Sync Assassins. Although, if we're honest, some of those Lip Sync Assassins were the worst. They were not very good. Well, since we're talking about it, let's just go ahead and bring it up. I'll start with the 2 that really comes to my mind. Or, I said it before, Vanjie Mateo. Her lip sync was so whack. It just did not match the song. And the other person was Kennedy Davenport. Kennedy LaGuardia, however they say her name. Kennedy Davenport. She is a lip sync assassin for real. And she was just walking across the stage with her billowy cape and... Okay, I'm spending a lot of time on this show, but it's a show I really like. Overall, I give the season an A. It was a quality season. Great job, RuPaul. I'm still a fan. I'm sure a lot of people are still fans, and we're all looking forward to seeing the behind the scenes of how this Vegas show got put up. So look out for that on August 21st. Okay, the next show, The Pale Horse, on Amazon Prime. Now, this show, it's of course, it's on TV. It's based off of an Agatha Christie novel that's kind of a murder mystery. Well, the Pale Horse version that we see on television is a remix of that. It's not the exact retelling of the book. So if you read the book, you're safe to watch this TV movie, because it's different. It's definitely different. You're not going to know exactly what's going to happen. But the whole premise, though, is there. It's because basically this show breaks down like a supernatural murder mystery. That, like I said, that remixes the Agatha Christie story. And in general, it's a BBC production. As a matter of fact, it took me a minute to realize that it was a BBC production. The accents were throwing me off because I don't know why. The show looked a little Southern to me, like a period Southern piece at first, and the accents were not. I had my mind, on something else, and I was hearing something else, and it took me a minute till I saw a caption that said Surrey, and I was like, okay. But anyway, that was probably just my fault. It's a 2-part series, I guess, which is nice because you can binge it real quick in a night, and it's really good. It's starring Rufus Sewell, who played Mark Easterbrook, and essentially it's the story of this wealthy man, this wealthy British guy who has to figure out all these people around him are dying, and he's also on a list that happens to have all these people who are dying on it, and him trying to figure out why is he on the list, and at some point him being convinced that he is probably one of the people who are about to die, and oh my gosh, how do I stop this? And the name The Pale Horse comes into play because there are some witches. Now, I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm just going to give you the plot points. There are some witches in this town called Much Deeping, and they have these witches they live in this place called Much Deeping, and they work in a place called The Pale Horse, which used to be a tavern, and that's where they give readings, okay? Whew. So, and so what happens is, what we think is that everyone who comes in for a reading, they end up dead, basically, is what happens. People who come in for a reading end up dead. Or is it that you go in for a reading and you say a name and those people end up dead? It's actually a combination of the two. But anyway, the witches are killing people. And so we go through this journey of him trying to figure this out. He meets this religious guy who's also being cursed by the witches as well, and so they're trying to figure it out together. The show is extremely well acted. The actress who plays the wife to Mark Easterbrook, her character is called Hermia. Great name, by the way. I mean, I've heard Hermia, of course, that's a Shakespearean character's name. I don't know if it's a common British name or English name or not. But I was like, there's probably some kind of, writer history here with this name. But I didn't go look it up, so you can look it up and figure out what that is. But yeah, her name is Hermia, the character, played by Kay Scodelario. And she's really a dream in that role. There's one moment where they have a very, very intimate argument where she's sitting on the couch. He's sitting in a chair, like almost knee to knee with her, and they're having this back and forth about him coming in late. Is he cheating? And him also thinking something about her, that he thinks he knows something about her. And it's a really, really great moment of acting between the both of them. Really, really good job on this show. Lots of twists and turns in this show. Lots of do you think this is going to happen? Is this person who they really say they are? The production value on the show is great, of course. It really does look like it probably could have been a movie at some point. Who knows? Maybe it was meant to be a movie that just got put on Amazon Prime due to all the things that's happening right now. But I'll leave it up to you to decide. Now one of my biggest critiques of the show, probably the biggest critique I have of this show, is that the last 5 minutes. Yes, I know. The last 5 minutes of the show leaves you a little with a question mark, and I guess what I didn't appreciate about it, it almost introduced a new kind of problem, a problem that we did not know existed in this show at all in any kind of way. And I feel like, so I felt a little gypped, I guess. I felt a little gypped by that. But it's well worth the watch. As I said before, it's only 2 episodes that are probably, at least an hour long each, maybe a little bit longer, but not much more than that. And you should watch it. I give this one an A- because of the superb acting and the high production value of the show. Definitely worth checking this out. The Pale Horse on Amazon Prime. Now, of course, I've mentioned as well the Indian matchmaking I guess it's a documentary they're calling it. I guess that's what they call reality shows now. A documentary on Netflix. Let me just start off by saying this was probably the most well-produced documentary about matchmaking that I've seen before. And when I'm saying, I'm putting it along the lines of like the Millionaire Matchmaker, Patty Stanger's show. I'm thinking about Love at First Sight kind of a show. I mean, they did a really good job, the producers of this, the Indian matchmaking show on Netflix. Very, very good work on the show. I thought they did a good job with the storytelling of it. So whoever produced this show did a good job with that as well. Now, the show follows the head matchmaker, Seema, because this is about people who are from India originally, or of that lineage, and for the most part, and about the arranged marriage part of it mostly, because they have love marriages and there's the arranged marriage, or the marriages the parents schedule for the kids. It was very interesting. I did go into it because this is not my culture, so I tried to go into it open mind, open heart, no judgment. Don't bring your Western United States of America thoughts to it. I tried to be aware of my biases as I was watching the show. But of course, in this show, Seema works really closely with all the parents. I mean, the parents are even helping to pick from the pictures, the photos, like, oh, here's son, she looks good, or here daughter, he looks good, or what have you, like that. Even to the point where the parents most of the time were on the first dates. Like the first time these people met each other, the parents were there. And honestly, I kind of left with the feeling of, there is something to your parents being involved in your choosing of your mate. I think there is I really did leave with that. I think about the guys my sisters have dated, and how some of them my mom did not care for, and how in the end, mom was right. So there may be something to, if you're really, really ready to settle down and you're really looking for someone to be your forever mate, that your parents or whoever your guardian is who knows you the best has some kind of input or, say in it. I kind of left with that a little bit. Now, the theme of this show, it did seem to be millionaire Indians or well-to-do Indians. For the most part, there was a couple of people, like a grade school teacher and a lady who seemed to be like she was a veterinarian. No, the guy was a high school teacher. But for the most part, these were wealthy people, jewelry store owners, lawyers with multiple firms, dance studio owners, big wig people, okay? So something that kept coming up, of course, everybody has different preferences. Height was a big thing, of course, a lot. Like, the parents are, we gotta match them this way because of their height. But what seemed really prevalent was the idea of colorism, this idea of fair, that the person needs to be fair. And honestly, all the clients she was dealing with were pretty fair. I don't think any client on the show was a darker skinned Indian. So I did have issue with that in the show. But I was like, okay, Cleo, are you bringing your American bias into this? But I'm a person who has talked to, I don't want... I was about to say, I have friends who are Indian, but I do. And, we have had conversations about colorism in India. I've seen other documentaries about colorism in India. So I am not a, expert. I do have some knowledge of this. But I guess for me, what bothered me about it in this documentary, they were unflinching in it. It was like saying, pass the cornbread. I need him to butter the toast. He needs to make he needs to make as much money as me, and he needs to be fair. And it's like it's just what it is. And I think there was some conversation about it that they were talking about that in the show, but I guess that's a documentary for another day. What I did enjoy about the show, it was very fast moving. The dates, we got to know the people pretty well, the different clients that she had. And I felt like we got to know them well enough that we could, we were rooting for people. There were some people I'm going like, oh my gosh, girl, you're going to be single forever. You're so mean, or blah, blah, blah. Or this guy, you're not ready because you're so immature, yada, yada. So the show did a really good job of letting us in to get to know these people. And what was even more interesting, and it's something that we probably all know, what was really interesting was seeing how person A is with person B. And then that is a total disconnect. Even though they're both being nice and pleasant. But then, and in one case, person B wanted person A, and person A did not want person B. But then person A went on a date with person C, and it was heaven. Like, it was like, it's like when you see something that's right, they looked right together. And I actually hated that I couldn't see how their relationship concluded. I was like, oh, what's happening? Speaking of that, I have never seen a show like this, like a dating matchmaking show, leave you with cliffhangers. They were leaving us with cliffhangers, honey. They had me going, oh, I need to go to bed. But they left me with a cliffhanger. I gotta stay up and watch and see what's gonna happen next. It was good job, producers. Kudos. Good job to you guys. It was really good. Something I learned while watching it was that there's a lot of talk about astrology and the signs, and there's a lot of stake put into that for some people. For most people, in terms of their compatibility, that maybe they won't even meet the person if once they look at that and see that person has a sign that's supposedly in class with their own, from their bio data sheets that they get that shows like what school you went to and what your interests are and who you be with. Sorry, that was just a Biggie Smalls moment. But anyway, so really good show, fun show, and it's nice to see, people who are well-to-do dating and spending money and doing cool stuff. I don't know if anybody wants to watch a show with poor people only able to eat at McDonald's and Raising Cane's for their dates and Taco Bell. Ain't nothing wrong with those places. I eat at those places all the time, but I guess that don't make for good TV. Although that could make for good TV, I would watch that. But anyway, I give this show an A+. An A+. It's an outstanding matchmaking documentary. Okay? Really nice. Finally, we're going to talk about From Fat Lolly to Six-Pack Lolly, the Ultimate Transformation Story, which is a documentary as well. This show follows Anthony Lolly, who's a real estate tycoon and a multimillionaire. And now Anthony grew up as a fat kid in a relatively poor house. And I say poor as in like lower middle class, probably. I mean, they were eating and they were living okay. The father was a teacher. But anyway, Anthony grew up and he made good. But he was an overweight guy. And so somewhere around 42, by this point, Anthony had married a very beautiful woman, and they had a couple of kids together. She was very fit, even though Anthony was a chubby fat guy. She loved him and married him. And one day he said they were at dinner, and he was he had French fries. His daughter reached for the French fries, and his wife said to the daughter, "Don't eat those. You'll get fat." Now the girl was only 2 years old when the mom said that. I was kind of like, ouch. I had an ouch in that moment, you know. I was like, ooh, the mother told the daughter at 2 years old that eating French fries will make her fat? Ow. I was like, that really was shade to her husband. That's what that was. That's what I believe. When he said she said that, I was like, she was not talking to her daughter. That was shade to you. And then he said, the daughter says, "What's fat, mommy?" And she proceeds to pull out a video on YouTube and show her a video. And in the end, whoever the doctor or somebody said, you know, you could die if you're fat. And the daughter looks at her dad and says, "You're fat. I don't want you to die." Okay. And this kicks off his journey. Now, that shade did. But whatever it takes. And so anyway, this was a really interesting show. It was filmed mostly, it seemed like on cell phone, with cameras, with cell cameras. Now, we have to remind ourselves as we're watching this, because he did this transformation in under a year. And hopefully I'll be able to put a picture of it right there of what he looks like, what he looked like and what he went to. Now, mind you, he did this in under a year. This guy had tried dieting many times on his own and failed, like so many of us. And but he got back on. But this really motivated him to get back on the horse again. And so he hires at least three different trainers. He had a HIIT trainer for that exercise. He had a CrossFit trainer. He had another trainer for like a bodybuilding trainer who kind of got the bodybuilding together. And then he hired a nutritionist. Now, mind you, the nutritionist was out of Ireland. And he flew the nutritionist in to, help him get his food thing together. Because he had started doing his body. He was starting to see transformation in his body first before he got into the nutrition. But then he knew that if he really wanted to see, to push past his plateaus, he had to change his diet as well. And so he flew in this guy from Ireland. I was watching this as I was working out, and I was trying to stay focused and not be a hater as I was watching this, I must admit. Because the whole time I'm watching this, I'm going, this man he's on a pop star level with money. And that's like, what we all say. Of course they can do that. They brought in a personal trainer. Of course, and all this stuff. He didn't bring in just a personal trainer. He brought in three. And then the nutritionist, who was also like a bodybuilder kind of guy. So this man had all the resources. And being that he was his own boss, he could kind of make his own schedule. I'm not saying that he didn't struggle and all this kind of stuff. He did struggle. He did work hard because he had to show up and do the work. And they did push him hard. And he was very determined. I think that's one of the things I liked about what I saw, was that he had got himself to the mindset that whatever it takes to achieve this goal, if I have to say no to this thing or no to that thing, I'm going to do whatever it takes to achieve this goal. And that's great. But once again, I'm working in two minds here. In one mind, I'm going, cool, that's awesome, you're doing that thing. Then in my other mind, I'm going, yeah, but you got money. You got money and resources to do what you're doing. And so I was conflicted as I was watching it. So eventually he loses over 110 pounds. I mean, it's probably significantly more than that, but I don't want to overshoot it. And then he ends up with some skin, a lot of loose skin on his body, on his stomach, on his back, on his legs. He's like showing us, at one point he pulls down his pants to show his flat booty, and how it was sagging. They blurred all that out. and he needed to go get some surgery to remove the skin. Once again, resources. Like, how many people, like, what do you do if you don't have that resource? And I know that's the reason why some people who are really big don't want to lose so much weight, because they don't have the resource of having that skin grafted or cut away. But anyway, so he does that. He goes, gets the surgery. He's surgery done. He's very transparent with that. I mean, this man loves the camera. He is showing us at one point his wife has to wipe his butt because he had a lot of stuff done. His chest, his areolas had moved like off to the sides. We had to have his chest kind of reconstructed, not reconstructed, but the nipples moved to the correct place where you want the nipples to be. He had tummy. Is it a tummy tuck when it's just skin? Well, whatever, he had the skin tightening around his belly, around his sides, around his lower back, and he had so much done as far as that skin removal that he was walking around with like 4 blood bags at one point that were collecting blood in his body. And what I did appreciate about his transparency, though, was that if you're thinking about going into surgery, the recovery is brutal. And I do appreciate the fact that he's saying that's probably something you can't do by yourself. What if he was single and he needed someone to wipe his butt? I guess because he has resources, he could have hired someone. But what about you and I, who don't have no money like that? I don't know. We walking around stinking for a month? I don't know. But so it was really cool to see that. But this guy wasn't done with that. He decided that he needed a new goal, and his new goal was to compete in a body transformation contest that was hosted at this larger bodybuilding competition. Like, it was, and at the time it was like 9 months away from when he was about recovered from surgery. When I say recovered, just not in loads of pain. As a matter of fact, I think his doctor had recommended that he not exercise for a year, but this guy was a hard head and he went on and did it anyway. Lucky for him, there wasn't any complications that I saw that they put on television. But he got ripped. He was ripped. His body was great. Butt was still flat, but everything else looked great. His wife was so happy. I could tell she was really happy about her renovated man, and it was definitely I think a motivation just to see someone do that kind of work. He does go to the contest. He participates in the contest. I don't want to ruin the end for you, so I'll just say he participated in the contest. If you watch it, you can see what happened to him. Overall, I rated this a B. The transformation was definitely true to form, true to what as advertised. My only problem with the documentary is really just the fact that this person doesn't necessarily represent the average Joe, the average Joan. This is a man who has lots of resources than most of us, and so if it's hard for someone like that to get it together, that's kind of what I left with too, is going, if it's hard for someone like that to get it together, how much harder is it for the rest of us to get it together? Not that that's an excuse, but it's just something that came to my mind. But like I said, B rating, definitely worth watching. Give it a shot and take a look at it and let me know what you think in the comments once you see it, or if you have seen it already. So that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do me a favor and subscribe to the video, like it. If you want to leave a negative comment, like I always say, be constructive. And yeah, thank you for your time and have a great night.